Earth was silent that night, the kind of quiet that made every small sound echo. The human fleet had just completed its routine patrols in the nearby star systems. Captain Hannah stood on the command bridge of the lead warship, looking out at the stars. The view was peaceful, but the peace felt fragile. She knew that humanity had sent out signals before, but this time the message was different. This was an SOS, a call for help to any species that could respond. Dr. Minseek was in the communications room, his fingers hovering over the console. He looked worried. "Captain, are you sure we should send this?" he asked. His voice was low, almost nervous. Hannah turned to him. "We have no choice. If we are going to survive, we need allies. This SOS might be the only way." Lieutenant J, a young pilot with a brave heart but little patience, leaned against the doorway. "I hope whoever answers knows we are humans. We don't want misunderstandings." Dr. Minseek shook his head. "I have a bad feeling about this. We don't know who will pick it up." The signal was sent. It carried the hope of humanity across light years of empty space. It was meant for friendly species, those who could help in case humans were threatened. But in the vast galaxy, many species were watching. Some were curious, some were hostile. The SOS reached the wrong eyes, and those eyes belonged to the Deathworlders, a species feared across many star systems for their aggressive nature. Captain Hannah monitored the sensors anxiously. The first sign of trouble came as a faint blip on the radar. She frowned. "What is that?" Dr. Minseek studied the readings. I think they are responding. But these readings do not match any friendly species we know." Lieutenant J's face tightened. "How many ships?" Minseek hesitated. "Too many. Too close. They are massive." Hannah's heart raced. "Prepare the fleet. Activate defensive shields. Keep communication channels open. We need to find out what they want before it's too late." In orbit around Earth, the human fleet was assembling. Every ship, every crew member was aware that they might be facing something they could not easily fight. But humanity had always survived by being clever and resourceful. That thought gave Hannah a small measure of hope. On the surface, civilians were unaware of the danger approaching. Cities glittered with lights, people went about their daily lives. Children played in parks, families dined in restaurants, and somewhere in a laboratory, scientists were running late-night experiments. None of them knew that a warlike alien fleet was heading toward them because of a simple mistake. The first Deathworlder ships appeared on the sensors, dark silhouettes moving through space. They were large, armored, and unlike any human technology. Each one carried weapons designed to destroy entire planets if given the chance. Their response was not a greeting. It was a threat. "Captain," Dr. Minseek said, his voice trembling, "they are preparing for an attack." Hannah tightened her grip on the console. "We do not attack unless they fire first. We must stay calm and think clearly." Lieutenant J paced the bridge. "Stay calm? They are huge, and there are hundreds of them. How do we even stand a chance?" Hannah looked at him with a stern but calm expression. "Humans have survived worse. We rely on our minds, our creativity, and our courage. This is no different." The Deathworlders did not wait. Small drones were sent ahead, moving fast and attacking human reconnaissance ships. The first skirmish began. Explosions lit up space like distant fireworks. Human pilots fought bravely, dodging and weaving between enemy fire. Even with their skill, losses were inevitable. The drones were relentless, and human ships had to retreat to regroup. Back on the command bridge, Hannah made quick decisions. She ordered the fleet to form defensive formations around Earth. She knew that they could not let the aliens get close. Shields were activated, and defensive turrets started targeting incoming drones. Humans had never faced a threat like this before, but they were determined to survive. Dr. Minseek worked frantically on his experimental weapon, hoping it could disrupt the Deathworlder shields. It was a risky move, untested and dangerous, but it was the best chance they had. "Captain," he said, "if this works, it could give us an advantage, even if just for a few moments." Hannah nodded. "Do it. Now." As the weapon powered up, the human fleet held its ground. The first shots were fired, and explosions rocked the void of space. Enemy drones were destroyed, and for the first time, humans saw that their courage and intelligence could make a difference. Lieutenant J returned to his station, a look of determination replacing fear. We can fight them. We just have to stay sharp and stick together. Hannah looked at the stars, thinking about Earth, the home they were fighting to protect. Every human life mattered. Every planet in their system was worth defending. And despite the overwhelming odds, she felt a surge of pride in her people. The Deathworlders, however, were not done. They began sending larger ships, their warships advancing steadily toward Earth. The humans could see them clearly now, massive and menacing. The first true wave of the attack was coming, and the human fleet had to be ready. In the midst of chaos, a strange feeling of unity emerged among the humans. Fear was still present, but it was tempered by courage and determination. Captain Hannah spoke to her fleet over the intercom, her voice steady and strong. Remember who we are. Remember that humanity survives against all odds. Fight with your minds, your hearts, and your courage. Today we defend Earth, and we will not fall. Every crew member felt the weight of her words. They knew the battle would be difficult. They knew that losses were inevitable. But they also knew that humans had faced impossible odds before and had always found a way to survive. The first major confrontation began in the orbit of Earth. Human warships darted around massive Deathworlder vessels, firing weapons and evading attacks. Explosions illuminated space, and the night sky reflected the chaos unfolding in orbit. Pilots shouted over comms, coordinating attacks, and covering each other's backs. Humanity was showing that even against a superior force, strategy and teamwork could make a difference. As the battle raged, Dr. Minseek monitored the experimental weapon. Captain, it's working. We are breaking through their shields on a small scale. We can hit them harder now. Hannah nodded. Good. Focus fire on their lead ships. We have a chance if we strike carefully. The Deathworlders responded with overwhelming force, their warships firing massive energy beams. Some human ships were destroyed, others damaged. Still, they held their ground, using clever maneuvers and coordinated attacks to protect Earth. The bravery of each crew member shone through, and the human fleet managed to push back the first wave. Hours passed, and the intensity of the battle never lessened. The Deathworlders regrouped, sending more ships, larger and deadlier than before. But humanity was determined. Every ship that survived added to the defense. Every small victory boosted morale, proving that humans were not easily defeated. Captain Hannah looked at the remaining fleet and knew this was only the beginning. The Deathworlders were powerful, relentless, and unforgiving. But humans had something they did not: ingenuity, courage, and an unbreakable spirit. They would fight to protect Earth, to protect their home, and to prove that even in the darkest moments, humanity would survive. The night sky over Earth glowed with explosions and flashes of light as the human fleet engaged the Deathworlders. It was the first true test of their strength, and though the outcome was uncertain, humanity had made its stand. The SOS had reached the wrong species, but it had also revealed the courage and resilience of humans. And as long as even a single human ship remained, the fight for Earth was far from over. The Deathworlder fleet moved through space like a shadow across the stars. Their massive warships blotted out small planets in the distance. Earth sensors tracked them, and every human crew member knew this was no ordinary encounter. Captain Hannah paced on the command bridge of her flagship, her eyes fixed on the advancing enemy. Dr. Minseek was at the console, monitoring the alien signals. Captain, their formation is tight. They are organized, very dangerous. Lieutenant J gripped the controls of his fighter ship. We need to strike before they reach Earth, or everything we love will be gone. Hannah nodded. We hold our positions and protect the planet. Prepare all ships for battle. Defensive shields at maximum and firepower ready. We cannot afford mistakes. The first wave of Deathworlder drones arrived, fast and deadly. They attacked reconnaissance ships, trying to break through the human fleet's defenses. Explosions lit up space as small human fighters engaged the drones. Pilots maneuvered with skill, dodging blasts and firing back. Some ships were destroyed, but humans held their line. Captain Hannah issued commands calmly. Focus on protecting the larger ships. Cover each other. Stay together. We can survive if we fight as one. The human fleet used clever tactics. Ships hid behind asteroids and used stealth maneuvers to avoid the alien beams. Lieutenant Jay led a small group of fighters in a risky attack, weaving through enemy fire to destroy several drones. His bravery inspired other pilots, showing that courage could change the course of battle. Dr. Minseek continued working on his experimental weapon, hoping it could give them an edge. Captain, if this works, it can disrupt their shields. We might destroy their lead ships before they reach Earth. Hannah looked at him, trust in her eyes. Do it. We need every advantage we can get. The weapon activated, sending pulses through space that interfered with the Deathworlder shields. Human warships fired their weapons in coordinated volleys, hitting the alien ships. Explosions shook the fleet as enemy drones were destroyed. The humans could feel hope rising, knowing that even against a stronger foe, strategy and courage could make a difference. The Deathworlders responded with larger warships. These were not drones but massive ships capable of destroying entire human warships with single blasts. The human fleet faced overwhelming odds, but retreat was not an option. Earth itself was at stake. Hannah called her officers together. We cannot let them reach the planet. We fight with everything we have. Every ship, every weapon, every crew member counts. Today, we show them what humans are capable of. Lieutenant Jay smiled despite the danger. I am ready, Captain. Let's show them our strength. The battle intensified. Energy beams tore through space, explosions lighting the darkness like firestorms. Human pilots used their smaller, more agile ships to distract the Deathworlder warships, drawing fire away from larger human vessels. Each maneuver was calculated, each attack precise. Humans relied on intelligence and teamwork to survive against the enemy's superior firepower. Meanwhile, Dr. Minseek fine-tuned the experimental weapon. It pulsed with energy, creating waves that could penetrate the shields of even the largest enemy warships. He worked quickly, knowing that every second counted. Captain, it is ready. If we hit the right targets, we can slow them down significantly. Hannah nodded. Target their command ships. Hit them hard. Focus fire and coordinate every strike. We cannot afford to miss. The human fleet launched a coordinated attack on the enemy command ships. Missiles and energy beams struck with precision, damaging several Deathworlder warships. Explosions erupted as enemy shields flickered and failed. The humans had managed to turn the tide slightly, proving that courage and ingenuity could match sheer power. However, the Deathworlders were relentless. They sent even larger ships, the size of small moons, advancing toward Earth. Their weapons glowed with deadly energy, ready to obliterate anything in their path. Human shields held for now, but they could not last forever. Hannah watched the approach, her mind calculating every possible outcome. She knew that humans were resilient and clever, but this was the most dangerous enemy they had ever faced. We need a bold move, she said to her officers. Something that will make them rethink attacking us so directly. Lieutenant Jay looked at her. What do you suggest, Captain? Hannah smiled slightly, a mixture of determination and hope. We use their aggression against them. We lure their lead ships into an ambush near the asteroid belt. We have a chance if we act together. The plan was risky, but humans were no strangers to risk. Every ship in the fleet moved carefully, hiding among asteroids and using stealth to avoid detection. As the Deathworlder lead ships pursued the humans, they were drawn into the trap. Mines and hidden human warships attacked from multiple directions, catching the enemy off guard. Explosions shook the battlefield, and several Deathworlder ships were destroyed. The ambush worked, showing that humans could use intelligence and strategy to fight a stronger foe. Lieutenant Jay led the charge, maneuvering through enemy fire with skill and bravery. His actions inspired other pilots, proving that even young, inexperienced humans could make a difference in battle. Despite the victories, the cost was high. Many human ships were destroyed, and crew members lost their lives. Captain Hannah felt the weight of every loss, knowing that each person was a hero who had given everything to protect Earth. She also knew that this was only the beginning, and that the Deathworlders would not stop until humanity was destroyed or defeated. Dr. Minseek continued to refine his weapon, hoping for a solution that could change the course of the war. "Captain, if we can hit their flagship, we might be able to stop their advance entirely." Hannah nodded, her resolve firm. "Then we aim for the flagship. We will not let them reach Earth. Every human life, every planet is worth defending. We fight to survive, and we fight to protect our home." The Deathworlders regrouped, sending more ships to reinforce their fleet. Their attack was unrelenting, but humans held their ground. Each victory, no matter how small, was a sign that even against overwhelming odds, humans could survive. The courage and ingenuity of the human fleet shone brightly against the darkness of space. The battle continued, with the human fleet fighting to keep the Deathworlders at bay. Captain Hannah inspired her crew, reminding them that humanity had survived impossible challenges before. Their determination, intelligence, and teamwork were their greatest weapons. As the first day of battle ended, both sides regrouped. Humans had lost ships and crew members, but they had also inflicted damage on the Deathworlders. The enemy knew that humans were not easy prey, that they were clever, brave, and resourceful. Captain Hannah looked at the stars, thinking about Earth and the people she had sworn to protect. The fight was far from over, but humanity had made its stand, and the courage of the fleet would be remembered for generations to come. Lieutenant J, exhausted but determined, whispered to his comrade, "We can do this. We have to. For Earth." Dr. Minseek nodded, his hands still on the controls, working tirelessly to give humans any advantage they could find. "We will survive. We will fight. We are human. That is enough." Captain Hannah smiled, knowing that despite the danger, despite the losses, the human spirit was unbroken. The Deathworlders had underestimated humanity, and they would learn that humans were not so easily defeated. The battle had only just begun, but the courage and determination of Earth's fleet would shine as a beacon of hope in the galaxy. The human fleet gathered near a dense asteroid field, hiding from the Deathworlder sensors. Captain Hannah stood on the command bridge, studying the formations of the enemy ships. They were massive, powerful, and well-organized. But the humans had a plan, and it relied on cunning and teamwork rather than brute strength. Dr. Minseek adjusted the controls of the experimental weapon. "Captain, if we use this here, the asteroids can help amplify the effect. It may disable multiple enemy ships at once." Lieutenant J's eyes lit up with excitement. "Finally, we can make a move that actually surprises them. They won't expect it." Hannah nodded. "We strike carefully. Every ship, every crew member must act in coordination. We cannot afford errors." The human fleet moved cautiously among the asteroids. They had smaller, more agile ships in the front, ready to attack and retreat quickly. Larger warships stayed hidden behind the rocks, shields at maximum, ready to unleash devastating firepower. Humans had learned from the previous battles that survival depended on intelligence and strategy. The Deathworlders approached the asteroid field, confident that they had the humans cornered. Their flagship glowed with energy, leading the advance of the rest of their fleet. Human sensors tracked every movement, calculating the best moment to strike. Hannah called her pilots over the intercom. "Remember your training. Stay sharp, follow the plan. We are using their strength against them. Every move counts." Lieutenant J led a small squadron into the open, drawing the attention of enemy drones. They weaved through laser fire, firing back and retreating just as planned. The Deathworlders followed, falling into the trap set by the human fleet. Mines hidden in the asteroid field detonated, damaging multiple enemy drones and causing confusion in the ranks. Dr. Minseek activated the experimental weapon. Pulses of energy spread through the asteroid field, hitting enemy ships and disrupting their shields. Explosions lit up space, and the humans saw their first significant success in this counterattack. It was a risky move, but it had worked. Captain Hannah watched carefully, issuing commands. "Focus on their lead ships. Do not get distracted. Cover each other. We strike hard and precise." The human fleet pressed forward, attacking damaged Deathworlder ships while avoiding stronger vessels. Smaller fighters darted between explosions, their agility allowing them to survive the enemy's heavy fire. Lieutenant J destroyed several key drones, proving that human skill could match the Deathworlder's strength. Meanwhile, the Deathworlder flagship was slowly recovering from the shockwave. Their commander was a skilled strategist, but even he had underestimated human tactics. The human fleet, though smaller, was organized and coordinated, able to adapt quickly to the changing battlefield. Hannah ordered a bold maneuver. We split into two groups. Group 1 will continue to attack the flagship directly. Group 2 provides support and defends Earth. Every ship in formation. Move! The plan worked. Human ships in Group 1 struck the flagship with concentrated fire, while the other group shielded Earth from smaller enemy vessels. Explosions shook space as energy beams collided. The flagship's shields flickered, and humans realized that victory was possible if they maintained pressure. Dr. Minseek focused all energy on the experimental weapon, targeting the flagship's core systems. "This is it, Captain. If it hits, we can severely damage their command ship." Hannah's voice was steady. "Do it. We are counting on every second." The weapon fired, a wave of energy striking the flagship. For a moment, silence filled space as everyone watched. Then the ship shuddered violently, its energy shields failing, weapons going offline. The human fleet pressed the advantage, attacking with precision and determination. Lieutenant J's squadron led a daring assault, diving toward the crippled flagship. They targeted control systems and weapon ports, disabling key functions. Explosions erupted on the enemy ship, and the Deathworlder forces began to retreat in confusion. The humans had achieved a major victory, showing that strategy and bravery could overcome raw power. However, the cost was high. Many human ships had been damaged, and crew members had been lost. Captain Hannah felt the weight of each loss but remained focused. Humanity had survived this encounter, but the war was far from over. She knew that the Deathworlders would return with reinforcements, and the next battle could be even more dangerous. Dr. Minseek wiped sweat from his brow, exhausted but relieved. "We have slowed them down, but they are still dangerous. We need to repair and regroup quickly." Hannah nodded. "Agreed. We use the time to strengthen defenses and prepare for the next attack. We cannot underestimate them." Lieutenant J looked at the stars, a mix of fatigue and determination in his eyes. "We can do this. We survived the first strike and we turned the tide here. Humans will not give up." The human fleet withdrew to safer positions within the asteroid field. Repairs began, and medics attended to injured crew members. The sense of relief was temporary, as everyone knew the Deathworlders were regrouping. But for now, humans had proven that they could fight back, that their courage and ingenuity could challenge even the most powerful enemies. Captain Hannah addressed her crew over the intercom. "Today we showed that humans are not easy prey. We can survive and we can fight back. Every loss is a reminder of the stakes, but every victory proves our strength. Remember, we are defending Earth, and we will not give up." The words inspired the crew. Even in the midst of fear and uncertainty, they felt pride in their actions. Humans had faced impossible odds before, and they would do so again. This counterattack was proof that determination, teamwork, and intelligence could overcome even the most powerful threats. The Deathworlders, though weakened, had not given up. Their flagship, though damaged, still hovered in space, and more warships were on the way. The human fleet knew that future battles would test their courage and skill even more. But Captain Hannah, Dr. Minseek, Lieutenant J, and every member of the fleet were ready to continue the fight. As the night fell over Earth, the stars reflected the ongoing conflict in orbit. Humans had survived the Deathworlder attack and had struck back with intelligence and bravery. They knew the next phase of the war would be even more dangerous, but the courage and resilience of humanity had been proven. And as long as even one human ship remained, the fight for survival would continue, and Earth would not fall easily. Lieutenant J looked at the repaired ships, determination in his voice. "We will be ready. We have learned from every battle. We fight not just to survive, but to protect everything we hold dear. Dr. Minseek smiled, exhausted but confident. Yes, we are human, and that is more than enough to face any challenge. Captain Hannah gazed out at the stars, thinking of Earth and the people she had sworn to protect. She knew that the courage, intelligence, and unity of humans were their greatest weapons. The Deathworlders had underestimated humanity, and they would learn that humans were not so easily defeated. The war was far from over, but the human fleet had proven its strength, and the spirit of Earth's defenders shone brightly across the galaxy. The Deathworlder fleet regrouped in deep space, their warships bristling with weapons and energy beams glowing ominously. Captain Hannah watched from the command bridge of her flagship as the enemy moved toward the edge of the galaxy. Earth was far behind them, but she knew the battle was far from over. The humans had slowed the enemy, but the Deathworlders would not give up easily. Dr. Minseek checked the sensors and ran calculations. Captain, they are heading toward a council-controlled star system. If they reach it, the damage will be catastrophic. We must intercept them now. Lieutenant J adjusted his controls, ready for another fight. Then we go after them. We cannot wait. They cannot reach any other planets. Hannah nodded, determination in her eyes. All ships, prepare for full engagement. Today we fight not just for Earth, but for the galaxy. Every crew member must give their all. The human fleet moved swiftly, using speed and strategy to catch the Deathworlders off guard. Smaller, agile ships darted in front, distracting the enemy and drawing their fire. Larger warships followed, ready to strike hard at key targets. Humans had learned from previous battles that intelligence and coordination were their strongest weapons. The first clash began in open space. Energy beams tore through the void, and explosions lit up the darkness. Human pilots used every trick they knew, dodging and weaving, firing weapons precisely to cause maximum damage. Lieutenant J led daring attacks, striking at weak points on enemy warships. His bravery inspired others, proving that even small human forces could challenge the mighty Deathworlders. Dr. Minseek activated the experimental weapon, sending pulses through space that disrupted enemy shields. The flagship of the Deathworlders shuddered as its systems faltered. Human warships pressed the advantage, firing concentrated attacks and destroying several enemy vessels. It was a risky move, but humans were determined to protect every corner of the galaxy they could reach. Captain Hannah coordinated every strike, keeping the fleet in formation and focused on the mission. Do not let up. Cover each other and aim for their lead ships. This is our chance to turn the tide of the war. The battle raged on. Human ships moved with precision, avoiding the enemy's massive firepower while striking with speed and intelligence. Explosions echoed across the void as Deathworlder warships fell. The human fleet, though smaller, used courage, strategy, and teamwork to challenge the mightiest forces in the galaxy. Lieutenant J and his squadron performed a daring maneuver, attacking the enemy flagship directly. They targeted control systems and weapon ports, disabling key functions. Explosions erupted on the enemy ship, and the Deathworlder forces began to falter. Humans had proven that courage and intelligence could match raw power. Dr. Minseek concentrated on the experimental weapon, aiming it at the core of the flagship. Captain, if this works, we can seriously damage their command structure. Hannah's eyes were steady. Do it. We have one chance to make this count. The weapon fired, a wave of energy striking the flagship's core. For a moment, silence filled space. Then the ship shook violently. The shields flickered and failed, weapons going offline. The human fleet took the opportunity to strike with full force, targeting every vulnerable part of the enemy warship. Explosions shook the enemy ship as it faltered, forcing the Deathworlders to retreat. The humans had won a major victory, but the cost was high. Many ships had been damaged or destroyed, and crew members had been lost. Captain Hannah felt the weight of every sacrifice but remained focused on the mission. Humanity had survived the engagement, but the Deathworlders were still a threat. Reinforcements would come, and the next battle would be even more challenging. Hannah addressed her crew over the intercom. Today, we showed the galaxy what humans are capable of. We fought with courage, intelligence, and unity. Every life lost was not in vain. We protect Earth and we protect the galaxy. We will continue to fight until the enemy knows that humans are not easily defeated. Lieutenant J looked at the remaining ships, determination in his eyes. We have proven we can fight against impossible odds. We must be ready for the next attack. Dr. Minsik nodded, exhausted but resolute. Yes, humans survive through courage and ingenuity. As long as we remain determined, we can face any enemy. The human fleet regrouped, repairing damaged ships and attending to injured crew members. They knew the Deathworlders would return with even greater strength, but humanity had proven that they could defend themselves. The courage and determination of every crew member were evident in every action, every maneuver, and every decision. Captain Hannah watched the stars, thinking of Earth and the people she had sworn to protect. The courage, intelligence, and unity of humans were their greatest weapons. Even against overwhelming odds, they had turned the tide in this battle. The Deathworlders had underestimated humanity, and they would learn that humans were not easily defeated. As night fell over the galaxy, the human fleet remained vigilant. The battle had been hard-fought, and many lives had been lost, but the spirit of humanity remained. Unbroken, the Deathworlders were powerful, relentless, and dangerous, but humans had proven that strategy, courage, and unity could overcome even the mightiest foe. Lieutenant J addressed his squadron. We fight not just to survive, but to protect everything we love. We are human, and that is enough to face any challenge. Dr. Minsik smiled at the repaired systems. Our ingenuity and determination are our greatest weapons. We have shown that humans can stand against the strongest enemies. Captain Hannah gazed at the stars, her mind focused on the next phase of the war. The Deathworlders had underestimated humanity, and they would continue to learn that humans could not be defeated easily. The courage and determination of Earth's fleet shone brightly across the galaxy, a beacon of hope and strength. Humanity would continue to fight, protect, and survive no matter the odds. The war was far from over, but Earth's defenders had proven that they were a force to be reckoned with, and the spirit of humans would not be broken. The human fleet prepared for the final confrontation. Captain Hannah stood on the command bridge, her eyes scanning the stars for any sign of the Deathworlder fleet. They had regrouped and were heading back toward Earth with greater strength, determined to crush humanity once and for all. Hannah knew this battle would test every skill, every strategy, and every ounce of courage her crew possessed. Dr. Minsik monitored the systems, his fingers moving quickly over the controls. Captain, our repairs are complete, and the experimental weapon is fully charged. This is our best chance to strike at the enemy's core. Lieutenant J tightened his grip on his controls, a mix of fear and determination in his eyes. We can do this, Captain. We've learned from every fight. This time we finish it. Hannah nodded. All ships, prepare for full engagement. Today we fight for Earth, for humanity, and for every life in the galaxy. Stay focused, stay together, and fight with everything you have. The Deathworlder fleet appeared on the sensors, massive and menacing, their energy weapons glowing with deadly intent. The human fleet moved in formation, smaller ships taking the lead to scout and distract the enemy, while the larger warships stayed behind, ready to unleash devastating firepower. Every human crew member knew the stakes, and courage filled every heart. The first clashes were fierce. Energy beams tore through space, and explosions lit up the darkness. Human pilots moved with skill and precision, dodging enemy fire while striking vulnerable points on the Deathworlder warships. Lieutenant J led a daring assault, hitting key control systems and inspiring other pilots with his bravery. Dr. Minsik activated the experimental weapon. Pulses of energy spread through space, disrupting enemy shields and disabling multiple ships. The Deathworlder flagship shuddered as its systems faltered, and the human fleet pressed the advantage, targeting weak points and striking with coordinated precision. Explosions erupted across the enemy fleet, and the tide began to turn. Captain Hannah issued commands calmly and confidently. Focus on the flagship. Destroy its weapons and control systems. Every ship contributes. We cannot let them recover. The human fleet moved like a single unit, smaller ships weaving through enemy fire, larger warships striking with calculated force. The Deathworlders responded with fury, firing massive energy beams and sending more drones to attack the humans. But the humans held their ground, using strategy, courage, and teamwork to survive and strike back. Lieutenant Jay's squadron dove toward the enemy flagship, targeting vulnerable sections. Explosions shook the ship, disabling weapon systems and creating confusion among the Deathworlder forces. Humans could feel hope rising, knowing that their strategy and bravery could challenge even the strongest enemy. Dr. Minseek concentrated on the experimental weapon, aiming for the flagship's core. Captain, if this hits, we can destroy their command structure. Hannah's voice was steady. Do it. This is our chance to end the threat. The weapon fired, a wave of energy striking the flagship. For a moment, space seemed to hold its breath. Then the ship shook violently, shields failing and weapons going offline. The human fleet attacked with full force, exploiting the damage and striking with precision. Explosions rocked the flagship, and the Deathworlder forces began to retreat in confusion. Humans had achieved a decisive victory, but the cost was heavy. Many ships had been damaged, and brave crew members had been lost. Captain Hannah felt the weight of every loss but remained focused on the mission. Humanity had survived, but they had also demonstrated that courage, intelligence, and unity could overcome even the most powerful foes. Hannah addressed her crew over the intercom. Today, we proved that humans cannot be easily defeated. We fought with courage, intelligence, and unity. Every life lost was not in vain. We protect Earth and we protect the galaxy. We will continue to fight for what is right, and we will not give up. Lieutenant Jay looked at the remaining ships, determination in his eyes. We have shown that humans can face impossible odds. We must continue to be ready for any challenge. Dr. Minseek nodded, exhausted but confident. Yes, our courage and ingenuity are our greatest weapons. Humans can survive anything if we stay united and determined. The human fleet regrouped, repairing damaged ships and tending to injured crew members. They knew the Deathworlders could return, but humanity had proven that they could defend themselves. The bravery and skill of every crew member had made the difference, and the strength of the human spirit was evident in every action. Captain Hannah looked at the stars, thinking of Earth and the people she had sworn to protect. The courage, intelligence, and unity of humans had been their greatest weapons. Even against overwhelming odds, they had turned the tide in this final battle. The Deathworlders had underestimated humanity, and they had learned that humans could not be defeated easily. As night fell over Earth, the stars reflected the triumph of the human fleet. The battle was won, but the war had shown the strength of humanity and the cost of protecting what they loved. Humans had survived impossible challenges, and their courage had made them a force the galaxy would remember. Lieutenant Jay addressed his squadron. We fought not just to survive, but to protect everything we love. We are human, and that is enough to face any challenge. Dr. Minseek smiled at the repaired systems. Our ingenuity and determination have proven our strength. We have shown the galaxy that humans can stand against even the strongest enemies. Captain Hannah gazed at the stars, proud of her crew and her people. The Deathworlders had underestimated humanity, and they had learned that humans were not easily defeated. The courage and determination of Earth's defenders shone brightly across the galaxy, a beacon of hope and strength. Humanity would continue to fight, protect, and survive no matter the odds. Earth and its people had endured, and the spirit of humans would remain unbroken for all time.